can you all hear me? You can't hear me? Can you all hear me? Thank you so much. So, a very good evening, namaskar to each and all. Once again, welcome to Delhi Literature Festival, the final day. And yes, here we are with a very wonderful session. And why I say that this is a wonderful session, of course, हमारे दिल्ली साहित्य उत्सव का हर सेशन वंडरफुल होता है, लेकिन ये विशेष सत्र और महत्वपूर्ण होने वाला है. डॉक्टर साहब बैठ जाइए, बैठ के पूरा संवाद सुनिए. थैंक यू. तो ये सत्र और महत्वपूर्ण होने वाला है क्योंकि मेरे साथ एक लेखक ही नहीं बल्कि एक बहुआयामीय शख्सियत है. आई हैव विद मी समवन हु इज अ वंडरफुल ऑथर, award-winning social communication strategist, brand advisor by profession, musician at heart, explorer and social researcher. शब्दों के तो आप धनी हैं, लेकिन साथ साथ जी हाँ संगीत में भी आपकी काफ़ी रुचि है. एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट विच आई रियली लाइक टू पॉइंट आउट कि जिस किताब के बारे में आज हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं, दैट इज द बुक टोम्ब ऑफ गॉड. It has been retaining the #1 position at the W.H. Smith Pan-Asian Reading Chart लगभग 3 महीनों से. जी हाँ, नंबर 1 पे हैं जनाब, तालियां तो बनती हैं. And yes, he has won the Author of the Year Fiction 2022 title from Ukiyoto. Friends, introducing amongst you all, of course, इनको परिचय की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Victor Ghosh for his wonderful work, The Tomb of God. Victor, स्वागत है आपका दिल्ली लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल में. हम लोग संवाद करने वाले हैं, बस माइक हमारा साथ पूरी तरह देता रहे. एक बार फिर आज दिल्ली साहित्य महोत्सव पर उपस्थित सभी साथी जो ऑफ कोर्स विक्टर जी मंच पर हैं, बट सबसे महत्वपूर्ण साथी जन जो सामने हैं, आप सबको मंच से नमस्कार, सबका वंदन, अभिनंदन. विक्टर, मैं इससे पहले बात करूं, थोड़ी सी कहानी समझ लेते हैं. विक्टर की जो किताब है द जॉनरे इज हिस्टोरिकल थ्रिलर. होता क्या है, कहानी में थोड़ा गहराई से जाते हैं. विक्टर, आई विल बी बाइलिंगुअल हियर, राइट? मीनू जी, ऑल ओके, राइट? सो ये किताब जो है ये एक हिस्टोरिकल थ्रिलर है. होता क्या है दैट मेसोपोटामियन एक्सकवेशन साइट पर प्रिज्यूमली एवरी मेंबर ऑफ द टीम इज डेड एक्सेप्ट वन वुमन, राइट? एंड ये विमेन जो है, जो किरदार है, जो कॉन्सेप्ट है किताब में, मरीना का. नाउ शी इज स्कैर्ड फॉर हर लाइफ एंड देन टू फाइंड डॉक्टर हंटले, द टीम लीड जो गायब हो गए हैं, द टीम लीड हु हैज गॉन मिसिंग. मरियाना रीचेज आउट टू इमरजेंसी कॉन्टैक्ट्स एंड यहाँ पर एरिक, ओरेन, फादर स्मिथ, ये सभी ऐसे कलाकार हैं किताब में जिनके बारे में जब आप पढ़ते हैं ना तो कहते हैं हाँ मैं हूँ ये, आई एम लाइक दिस. सो विद ऑल दिस थिंग दे आर ऑन अ जर्नी. आप एक यात्रा पे जाते हैं टू फाइंड देयर मिसिंग मेंटोर एंड फ्रेंड. एंड दिस बुक इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट अ हिस्टोरिकल एडवेंचर, बट ये एक सिविलाइजेशन की खोज है, ये एक सभ्यता की खोज है. दैट 4 strangers, Mariana, Eric, Oren and Father Smith, it's not only about finding their missing companion or friend, but amidst this we get to know a lot about the lost civilizations. Yes, शुरुआत करते हैं विक्टर. पहला सवाल, why only हिस्टोरिकल एडवेंचर? लिखने को तो बहुत कुछ है, जिस तरह कहने को बहुत कुछ होता है, इसलिए लिखने को भी बहुत कुछ होता है. Why did you really zero down on historical adventures? तालियों के साथ विक्टर का स्वागत हम करेंगे.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and attending this event. It's a fantastic event, and after I really want to congratulate everyone because after a long time, I'm sure we are meeting like this face to face. So we had 2 bad years, and when we couldn't meet, and it's always really beautiful to meet people face to face, talk to them, have conversation. So why historical thriller? I have a very short answer for that, but then again I'll elaborate on that. मुझे पढ़ने को कॉमर्स मिल गया था और मुझे हिस्ट्री पढ़ने नहीं दिया गया था. I always wanted to study history, लेकिन घर से मुझे कॉमर्स पढ़ने को भेज दिया गया. और मुझे हिस्ट्री पढ़ने को नहीं मिला. That's all. That's how it all
Hello,
started.
hello.
But वो दिल के अंदर वो रह गया because since my childhood I was a history buff. I loved history. I digged into history. I was fascinated by codes and decoding them. You know, it might be, you know, surprising to know, but yes, by the time when I was studying in class 7, standard 7, I actually knew 22 codes. World War II codes, World War I codes, and I knew how to decipher those codes. I also knew some very ancient Roman codes, and you know, I was fascinated by codes. So yes, history happened that way because I think it was in my blood, and I always wanted to study history. I couldn't, and when I was okay with my career and things were going good, I thought I should you know, delve into research. I should study more, and then I will possibly write, and that's what I'm doing. I am writing historical thrillers and novels, and I'm studying more and more, which I always wanted to do.
वाह, तो आप इतिहास से प्रेरित हुए और उसी ने कहीं ना कहीं आपको रिसर्च से भी जोड़ा. नॉर्मली हिस्ट्री इज वन सब्जेक्ट वी ऑल रन अवे फ्रॉम because it has too many dates to remember and too many occasions to reflect on. But yes, here's Victor, inspired by history, and it is often said that जो इतिहास को पढ़ते नहीं, सीखते नहीं, वो उसी गलतियों को फिर ना कहीं दोहराते हैं. It's very important to reflect on history. Victor, with this, let's decode. आपने decoding की बात करी है, आइए थोड़ा गहराई में जाते हैं. You know, इनकी किताब में एक सबसे अहम बात है कि हिस्टोरिकल थ्रिलर होने के कारण भी बावजूद भी there's so much that's involved. सिविलाइजेशन के बारे में है, कहीं ना कहीं बहुत सारे गहरे प्लॉट्स हैं, नॉन लिनियरिटी है. प्लीज हेल्प अस डिकोड योर प्रोसेस ऑफ रिसर्च. क्या आप रिसर्च करते कैसे हैं, ताकि मेरे जो यहाँ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से युवा छात्र आए हैं, जब वो या छात्राएं हैं हमारे साथ, जब वो अपनी किताब लिखे, उनको रिसर्च का क्या. थैंक यू, धन्यवाद अमित जी. जी हाँ, ये किताब है जिसके बारे में इस समय हम बहुत सुंदर चर्चा कर रहे हैं, द टूम्ब ऑफ गॉड बाय विक्टर घोष. जी विक्टर, प्लीज टेल अस अबाउट द प्रोसेस ऑफ योर रिसर्च.
See, I am a old-fashioned kind of a person, so I take time to write. I have written 2 of these historical thrillers, and each one of them has taken 5.5 years. So, yeah, that would be my message to the young people, that you know, in haste, like, you know, in months, in 2 months, or in a month, or in 7 days or 15 days, you will find that, you know, on social media, those things are, you know, they're bombarding you every day. You know, write your book in 15 days. It doesn't really happen that way. And even if you do that, you will never enjoy that process. Because you can't really, you know, as they say, you need a village to write a book. You really need to talk to people. If you're really into it, if you really want to develop something, you know, worthwhile, then you need to meet people, you need to talk to people. And like Kevin was telling us that he talks to so many people. For me, you know, internet has opened the world to me, and believe me, I am member of around 60 universities all around the world. Libraries. University libraries, they are in Europe, they are in America, South America, everywhere. And I keep talking to people, the library people, the library staff, the professors, and I try to understand and deep dive to figure out what has been there, because I write about ancient times. So this book is about, it's a 4,000-year-old history that we are trying to talk about in this book. And we are trying to find out a secret connection between our Harappan civilization and Mesopotamian civilization. And this is 4,000-year-old history. So for that, I really had to talk to several people. And to describe my places, what I do, it's a fantastic thing. Many of our young writers might find this interesting, that I have been talking to bloggers, travel bloggers. I have been watching their videos and then connecting with them, and then I talk to them. That what is new? If you were traveling from Pakistan to Afghanistan, what is that unique thing you found? On a bike, if you are traveling from Afghanistan to Iraq through Iran, what are those unique things that you've seen? During that journey, And so that's how I was really surprised to know about things which is never reflected on any book, which is never reflected on any website. So yeah, these two things I would surely talk about. One is the university libraries all around the world, the people, the professors. A lot of language has been described and talked about in this book. Ancient language, Aramaic is one, our old ancient Tamil language is one. So the connections between them, to figure that out, I had to talk at least with 11 people, senior professors who are still researching on those, on those languages. Because those languages are lost. They're not there. And here in my book, I'm talking about a language which is 4,000-year-old. So how has it been channelized in today's languages? So to find out, I had to talk to many people.
तो देखिए आपने इतिहास को, भाषा को, सिविलाइजेशन, बहुत सारी कड़ियों को जोड़ा है. विक्टर, इट्स रिमार्केबल दैट हाउ यू blend all different strands together. Now, Victor, I know something. I know about a secret journal. Yes, मैं आप सबके बीच ये बहुत ही ईमानदारी से एक बात बताना चाहती हूँ कि ये अपने लेख में और रिसर्च में एक सीक्रेट जर्नल रखते हैं. विक्टर, आप दिल्ली साहित्य उत्सव का मंच है. इट्स अ फोरम ऑफ prestigious festival of India, Delhi Literature Festival. You have to talk about that secret journal.
मतलब आप छोड़ेंगे नहीं ऐसे ही?
Yes.
आपको पता था और आपने रिक्वेस्ट किया तो मैं लाया हूँ.
आप दिल्ली साहित्य महोत्सव के एडवाइजर होने का कुछ तो हम धांधली कुछ तो हम दंगाईपन दिखाएं. वो आप हमें बताएं वो सीक्रेट जर्नल क्या है जिससे आप इतिहास और रिसर्च को सबको साथ लेकर आते हैं. बाप रे.
So, of course, this is a fantastic thing. I consider this as a fantastic thing, and I cherish keeping these journals. And thanks for reading my book. It looks like you've read it thoroughly, and we've talked about it. I was sharing about this journal that I keep wherever I go for research. I keep this journal. I keep jotting things down, and as I won't call myself an artist, but I do a couple of strokes with my brushes and pens. So I'll share this with everyone here. So it starts from the first research where I went to the Asiatic Society, which actually has which is one of the richest, which has the archive in India, which is in Kolkata. So I went there, and I went to several churches to understand the 16th century architecture and stuff. So that's how it all started, and then I'll take you through the most important part of it.
You want me to hold the mic so that you can talk easily?
That's okay. So before writing them, I drew my characters. And I developed them. They might be interesting to you if you can see them. So all the characters, I have them drawn. I spend real amount of time to sketch them out, how they would look, how they would talk, how they would look when they scrunch their faces, how they would look, they scratch their, forehead. So I know everything when I write about them. So this has been a fantastic thing that, if you can, draw lines, it's always better. And I'm not joking, all the characters, they're drawn, and I have them in my journal. And when I write them, I know exactly how they would, how their faces would look like. So yeah, that's a fantastic part of it. Coming to this, this new, so this I did when I wrote my first book, and with the Tomb of God, it was fascinating because as a BBC employee, I was traveling to. I was in London presenting a paper, and then I stayed back in London for over a month, and for over a month, every day in and out, I was in the British Museum or in the British Library. And as a BBC employee, I was allowed to stay back till 9:30. I stayed in the museum and walked. And what I did, so there was a beautiful gallery in British Museum, which is the Mesopotamian gallery. So I would sit and I would draw what I like and what I would want to put in my book. I would draw those images. I would draw the inscriptions from the cuneiform letters and forms, and there is this boat I found. It was a miniature version of a boat. I was drawing it one day. It was late. It was around 8:30 in the night, and I was sketching this because I wanted this boat to be a part, play a part in my book. Actually, the protagonist they captured this boat and they flew away from a danger, and they survived. So this boat was playing a crucial part in my book. And the guard, who was the captain of the floor, he came to me and he said, "Sir, we thought you are a researcher working on a book, but it looks like that you're a painter." I said, "No, I'm not a painter. I am just scribbling because I want this to play a part in my book." So that's how it helped. It's been a wonderful journey. I'll show one more.
So it's like every character well sketched down, every minute detail well penned down, and I think it's not must not be an easy thing to be consistent.
Yeah, so there is a dagger. I am sure you will like this cage. This I found in the Mesopotamian gallery, and a beautiful tree, the tree of life. I was fascinated by this tree when I found a painting, a replica of it, and I wanted this to be part of my story. So I made a sketch of it, and so that's how it goes. And I really request every young person over here, if you can carry a journal with you, your life becomes highly colorful. You can add color whenever you want, and it is, even psychiatrists say today that if we can pen down our thoughts, our sorrows, and our, happinesses, it's always good. It's a kind of a documentation. It's a running documentation. So yeah, I keep this, and thanks Dr. Amna for requesting me to bring them. I really I cherished sharing.
नहीं, बिकॉज देखिए हम अच्छा काम तो देखते हैं, किताबें जैसे आपने कहा, सोशल मीडिया के उदय से, आज टेक्नोलॉजी के उदय से किताबें तो बहुत हैं, बट हाउ what really makes one book stand out as distinct from the other, which I truly believe, being an academician, is the amount of research that goes in. Good research definitely stands out, and that's why I wanted everyone that when you look at the Tomb of God and the beautiful non-linearity, the hunt for friends, the search for civilization, all of it, one must also reflect on the deep historical parts that come in. For example, how Victor points out कि आप कोलकाता में एशियाटिक सोसाइटी के म्यूजियम भी गए, आपने मेसोपोटामिया का भी चीज़ देखा, तो ये चीज़ें बहुत ज़रूरी हैं, ये बहुत सिखाती भी हैं. अच्छा Victor, now once again the folks who are really keen for research and book writing, and of course who really want to get into more of wonderful things, जर्नल ज़रूर लिख लीजिएगा, ठीक है ना? वादा है? भारती जी, डायरी हम लिखना शुरू कर रहे हैं, है ना? लिखना चाहिए. जी हाँ, आपने ना बहुत सारे रहस्य खोल दिए हैं आज, सारे घोड़े खोल दीजिए.
देखिए, ये वो ज़माना है. We cannot keep things under the curtains or behind the curtains. We have to open it. As authors, we have to bring out things which everyone would know, and then cherish. And I personally believe that young people, because they are the people who will set standards of tomorrow, standards of aesthetics, standard of everything, be it literature, be it music, everything. So whatever I have learned, because we learned it the hard way. There were no Google. So I always tell my kids, my beautiful wife is sitting over here, I always tell them that respect your parents. Your parents passed every examination without the Google. Good. So, but then again, today we are yes, we are bombarded with everything, internet, social media. But then again, it's a boon. I am reaching to a professor in Israel, University of Israel, and talking to him about a language which is lost. And he tells me that there are possibilities that the lost Aramaic has some connection with the ancient Tamil. This kind of facts are coming up, that because it's nowhere there in the internet. No Google, no Wikipedia will tell you this. But this person, his entire life is on this research, and he tells me, I was for a little part of this book, I was researching about the Bishalla colony that the Hanumanji brought and to save Lakshmana. Believe me, there are several researchers has actually done what could be the Vishallokarani, what plant it could be, and mostly they have happened in Europe. So some of these people, some German professors, they told me about it. That this is what we think. It's not all the way to Himalaya. It must be somewhere in the Western Ghat. It's somewhere closer to the Sri Lanka. And it's a fantastic. These are dialogue openers. When we talk to those people, they know much more than us. They will tell you things which we don't know. So yes, of course, taking help from internet and then communicating with people. Yeah. As a communication professional, I believe in that part more. That the more you converse, because our people, we are losing on that part. We don't communicate anymore. We don't converse. So the more we do that, it's really good.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and that's very important. That of course, Victor, how he has dabbled with communication, but he's always believed in the sanity of human to human connect. And by the way, Victor is an ex-Mudra person also. I thought I'll unravel many other things too. So okay, Victor, with this, let's come to this very special one. Friends, when I got this book, courtesy to my very dear friend Kunal ji, and thank you to Rupa Publication for presenting to us this wonderful work. This work is not only about unraveling of a forgotten civilization, somewhere, but it is also looking at how time tells us about frailty, human frailty, faith, conspiracy, so many things. Victor, बातें बहुत सारी हैं और बहुत गहरी हैं, but let's get straight here. किताब आपके सामने है, आंख बंद करके आप इसको उठाएंगे और दिल से जो आपका फेवरेट वाला पार्ट है वो पढ़ के बताएंगे. Friends, this is on public demand. Okay, so here we have Victor Ghosh delving directly in his book, The Tomb of God by Rupa Publication. आंख बंद करके उठाया. Here we have Victor, candid at Delhi Literature Festival.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amna, for that. I always love to read. I know exactly what to read, and it's a very short chapter. It's a prologue, actually, which I read. Before that, I want to say one little thing that, there are several kinds of authors, and every kind, every type is good. So you will find authors who would write what they know. You will find authors who would write what they want their readers to know. So I am a seeker. I have always been a seeker. So I want to write, and I write what I want to know personally. And that helps me to initiate my journey to a subject. When I figure out that this is the next subject that I'm going to write, then I start reading about it slowly, and then at the next stage I deep dive into it, and then that journey starts. It's a new world altogether. I work in several sectors, so throughout the day I don't write. I write in the night when my kids go to sleep. My writing time is 11 or 12 in the night to 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's how I have been doing over the last 10 odd years. So this section which I'm going to read, it's a prologue of my book. It's about an excavation, which is a real excavation. I didn't know about it. It is not there in Wikipedia. It's not there on the net. I was, like the way I said, I was talking to a professor in Iraq. And he said that, in our conversation, of course, I didn't know about this. And he just said, do you know that, very recently we have digged out something fantastic. There were around 70 people who went to die with a Queen Yaba. This was around 3,800-year-old thing. And this all slaves, male and female, they went to die with, in the after chamber, they call it the death chamber. They went to die along with the queen. And when we found it, it was an antechamber. It was a known dig, but we never knew this antechamber existed. And when we, by luck, a roof fell, and we discovered this antechamber. And we saw that these men, around 70 men and women, were there. All of that section is done. Discussion is done. And when we were, about to hang up, he just said one thing, Victor, I was there in the dig. He said, everyone saw everything, everyone was excited, but somehow I saw one girl, a teenage girl, dead girl, mummified. So everyone would tie a kind of a silver ribbon on both of their arms, and this girl, she couldn't finish tying that up. And when we found her body, its mummified body, the untied silk ribbon fluttered in the air, and I stopped there, Victor. I stopped there watching that young girl died, and she is dead today, but that silver ribbon is fluttering in the air. When he was telling me this, I knew that this is my chapter, this is my prologue, this has to be the first chapter of my book. And then I wrote it, so I'm presenting that chapter, how my book starts. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing coming from the real man who was part of that dig. The prologue. The Mesopotamian city of Nimrud, 730 BC. The afterworld chamber for Queen Yaba was built a few days ago, and it was now ready for her earthly body. Leaning on an outer wall of the chamber, Ninki stood all by herself. She rubbed her palm across the fresh white surface and felt the dampness from the last coat of plaster. Her body shivered. Her heart hammered loud enough that she could hear it. Yet she knew she had to finish the job before she was dead. She wrote faster on the damp surface of the wall. Ninki knew her brother was far away, finishing a secret task, a task that involved using a skill their family had nurtured for generations. She believed he would eventually come back for her, but she would not survive long enough to meet him. So she had to leave a message for him, a message that would take him on the trail of the secret she had been harboring. But she had to be quick about it, for it was almost time for the queen's funeral. She hoped her brother would appreciate her idea. Maybe he would smile and call her smart. Maybe he would shed a tear for her. She used the skill her grandfather had taught her, writing coded cuneiform. She etched on the soft plaster of the outer wall of the tomb. Drops of sweat formed on her forehead and trickled down to her eyelashes, but she didn't care. She had to leave clues for her brother, and she had to make sure no one but he understood the message. That would lead him to her body, to the tablet she clutched, and then to the place where a centuries-old secret was hidden. For there, they were the last of the keepers. Finishing her work, she stood up and looked at it for the last time. She blinked, drawing herself fully back to the moment at hand. She clutched the round-shaped tablet her grandfather had helped her make before dying. That would be her last earthly connection to her brother. She wiped hot tears and took stock of the situation. She had done her part. Now it was time for her to go. The prospect dismayed her, but she hurried along towards the entrance of the chamber, where other serving men and women had in all likelihood gathered already. Ninki joined the other men and women, walking down to the great death pit, a name they had given the newly built afterward chamber for Queen Yaba. All of them had already tied the gold and silver ribbons on their arms. Ninki stumbled along with the group, clasping in her palm the tablet, which was much more precious to her than her own life, for it held the secret of a hidden place of immense value. She tried to coil one of the ribbons around her arm with only one thought in her mind. Would the message that she held in her hand survive? It had to. It was the only remaining clue to a secret that had the power to change the world in the time to come. Ninki was yet to finish tying the ribbon when the lead server handed her the potion, which she gulped down before going back to fastening the ribbon, but the potion took hold of her body before she could finish. And with that started the painless process of her being carried away to the afterworld, leaving behind her earthly body and a message hidden in her earthly hand. She fell to her knees on the dusty ground, and her whole body shuddered. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She began to pray to her god Nana, the moon god. Her muscles gave up, and she dropped to the ground, lifeless. Her right arm continued to clutch the tablet, half tied to her left hand, the silver ribbon. Half tied to her left hand, the silver ribbon swayed for eternity, and the entrance of the chamber was slowly sealed from outside.
Beautiful. Victor goes reading the favorite lines of reading some of his favorite lines from the book Tomb of God. Okay, Victor, let's get to know more about the skill of writing, the entire artistic reflections that are involved whenever anyone wants to get into literary venture. जब भी कोई साहित्य किताब की ओर जाना चाहता है तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं विक्टर और हम चाहेंगे आके आप ज़रा जल्दी जल्दी हम बात करेंगे 10 सवाल हैं जहाँ पे आप अपने विचारों से हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें वी रिक्वेस्ट विक्टर टू रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन द इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स विक्टर एज आई सेड इस किताब में साथियों जितने कैरेक्टर्स हैं बहुत रिलेटेबल हैं कहीं ना कहीं हमें लगता है कि हाँ ये हम हैं एक थ्रिलर जॉनरे होने के बावजूद भी इट इज़ वेरी मच रिलेटेबल डू यू थिंक by getting the element of relatability it serves better for the purpose of book or is it good for the book
It has to be from the everyday life. Whatever we read, if we can't reach out to our readers with that, or if our readers can't relate to that, then we are not doing it right. We are not reaching out. Our outreach is not happening properly. And we have so many interesting people around. Why not? Our characters. What I do, the professor I've just mentioned, who told me about this excavation, he is actually a character in my book. Finally, because I figured that I will never find a person like this man, who would be so passionately connected with his job. So, yes.
Relatability is important.
Absolutely.
Friends, I'd like to also tell you here that Victor's earlier book, that was again a historical thriller, The Job Sharnock Riddle, it topped the charts as an Amazon bestseller of 2016 और ये हम सब के लिए बहुत ही सौभाग्य की बात है The Times described the book as our own Da Vinci Code version. तालियां विक्टर बहुत विक्टर के लिए तालियां That's amazing. विक्टर इतनी सुंदर दो किताबें आपने हिस्टोरिकल थ्रिलर जॉनरे में लिख दी हैं Your advice to many future writers who will be writing in the same genre online offline जो अभी हमारे साथ हैं
See, again, I repeat my words. Every young person, or every writer for that matter, sitting here or listening to this, we all are the people who, or mostly the young people, you will be setting the standard of aesthetics and writing for tomorrow. So, never take yourself loosely. Whatever you believe in, take that seriously, very seriously. And do whatever you can do to study more about it. Borrow book, Google, find out, talk to people, go to libraries, learn about it. Because that journey which you will go through, what I understand, that's a fantastic journey. And you will always cherish that journey as a writer. It's not a 7-day job. It's not a 15-day write a book in 15 days. It's not like that. It's like the way you enjoy your journey when you conceive an idea and then you follow it. Then you study whatever you can about that, and slowly you start writing. So that journey will make your book special. That journey will make your book unique, and that journey will help you connect with your reader.
So cherish the journey. That's an important work. Okay, your favorite character from your book Tomb of God?
Mostly all the characters are my favorite, but then again the characters with negative shades and unpredictable, those characters are my most, they're really favorite. I like them because I also don't know. There's this interesting thing, Dr. Amna, I should share with you and with everyone. That in fact, the other day in the inauguration, we had Dr. Anand, who told us that his entire book is like a flowchart. He has that developed. That's a fantastic thing. I can't do it. I really can't do it. As I said, I want to enjoy my journey through the book. So the process of research and through the writing of the book. So I do not really know what will happen, and as slowly I proceed about my research and working out and writing the book, I start knowing what is happening around it, and then I allow my characters do things which I don't know what they will. So I make vulnerable characters, and I don't know what they will do. Believe me, I allow them to say things. I allow them to do things. I allow them to बचपना जिसे हम करते हैं, बचपना करे, कुछ वल्नरेबल काम करे जो मुझे भी 1 घंटा पहले उसको भी पता नहीं वो क्या करने वाला है. एंड दैट makes that chapter wonderful for me, because I don't know what is going to happen at the end of that chapter, and they do vulnerable things, and I keep on telling myself, the writer in me, ठहर जा भाई, देख लेंगे आगे, I'll handle the story later, let them do their thing, let them do their thing, whatever they want to do, and I'll handle the story later. So that's exactly how it happens with me.
So my last 3 questions, quick ones, before we open up the floor for audience. Victor, history is a very important subject for movies. Hindi movies ho, Bengali movies. And let me tell you, I watch a lot of Bengali movies with the English translations. And they're so deep, seriously. Okay, your favorite Hindi movie pertaining to history and favorite Bengali movie pertaining to history?
Not that many movies have been made on history. But yes, time movies, you can say that, I loved Lagan. It's a period movie. I won't get into the historical movies because they are not history. They do not really reflect history, but they are enjoyable films. What we develop, it's a fantastic industry and a fantastic genre. So yes, but understanding the dynamics of cricket in a lost time, if we can go back. So that was a kind of, I would say that was a fantastic way to imagine how would that. Bengali, there are many, but not very ancient time. In fact, Tagore wrote several movies which are historical, and films have been made out of them. So yeah, Tagore's writing and the films they have made out of Tagore's writing about historical, they're mostly paranormal. So I like them. I really like them.
Now that you've spoken about one of my favorite and revered author, thinker, Rabindranath Tagore, because when you read Gitanjali, I mean, there's so much. But I would not let you go without this. Few lines in Bengali song for all of us here at Delhi Literature Festival. We are talking to Victor Ghosh, wonderful author of the book Tomb of God from Rupa Publications. Victor, few beautiful lines in Bengali song.
So,
गाना तो पड़ेगा, सत्र समाप्त होने वाला है, गाना तो पड़ेगा.
देखो, last 20 years in Delhi, I am a Delhi wala. So I consider myself a global citizen. I do not consider really that I am a Bengali or I am a Bengali speaking person. मैं एक आपने कहा, thank you so much, आपने request किया, मैं 4 लाइन तो जरूर सुनाऊंगा. अजय जी भी मेरे पीछे बहुत दिन से पड़े थे.
So, and yes, let me tell you, he is a wonderful writer, communication specialist, social researcher, explorer. लेकिन ये ना संगीत हृदय है इनका. संगीत जो है वो इनके हृदय में बसता है. अजय जी ने मैं बताया था कि आप गिटार बहुत अच्छा बजाते हैं, तो गिटार सोच ली कि ये बज रहा है, लेकिन कुछ गा दीजिए आप.
गिटार तो नहीं है. मैं आप लोगों को देखिए, आई एम अ कम्युनिकेटर और एंड अ स्टोरी टेलर. सो व्हाटएवर आई से, I say through stories. And so this is a beautiful story I got from the roads of Delhi. So I wrote the song several years back, and it became very popular with the social sector, Save the Children, United Nations. They've all used this song. And if you look up on the internet, this song is there available on over 1,000 of online radio portals. So the story was like, as you said, I was working with Mudra, and I used to go to office on a bike. So I would meet this, little kid, 7-year-old kid at the juncture of House Khas and Aurobindo Marg. A little kid, 7-year-old kid. He is smarter than the lot. He would, at times he would sell you the flower. He would sell magazines. You know, some of these kids, I'm sure. All Dilliwalas know, they knock on your car's window and then they sell magazines, they sell flowers, they sell several things. And so this kid was smart. कभी मुझे बोलता है, अरे साहब तुम तो लेट हो गए. And I would say, तुम्हें कैसे पता मैं लेट हो गया? He would say, अरे साहब मुझे सब पता होता है, मुझे एक काम करो ना, अगले सिग्नल पे छोड़ दो, बाइक तो है ही आपका. And I would say, क्यों साहब, जैम देखा है वहाँ भीख ज़्यादा मिलेगा. So he was a smart kid. His name was Rahman. वो मुझे मिलता था तो ऐसे सैल्यूट कर, सलाम रहमान का सलाम आपको, like that. एक दिन आता है तो he tells me that, साहब अभी मैं भिखारी नहीं रहा. And I, with all my surprise, I asked him कि भाई क्या करते हो आज? अभी तो मैं businessman बन गया हूँ साहब. And it was a momentary vision for me. I stopped and I said, क्या business करता है? सर मैं कबाड़ी वाला बन गया हूँ. देखो रीयूज भी हो जाता है, उसका पैसा भी मिलता है. तो मैं उस बिजनेस में आ गया हूँ. एंड आई लुक्ड डीप इनटू हिज आईज. ही वाज बिलीविंग इन व्हाट ही वाज सेइंग. आई ड्रोव डाउन टू माय ऑफिस एंड दैट डे आई कुड वर्क. वही मेरे दिमाग में चलता रहा कि साहब मैं बिजनेसमैन बन गया हूँ और कबाड़ी वाला में तो भिखारी था, अब भिखारी नहीं रहा. तो ये जो भिखारी था और भिखारी नहीं रहा बिजनेस, तो यही दिल्ली है. दिल्ली, यही दिल्ली का हार्ट है. दिल्ली सिखाता है कैसे जीता है, कैसे जिया जाता है. And that day I didn't do any work, believe me. I wrote this song. So the song goes like, सिग्नल पर कभी कभी वो मिल जाए छोटा सा यार मेरा, हाथ हिलाए और मुस्कुरा के कहे लेट हो गए तुम जरा, सर जी सलाम रहमान का. So it's like, सिग्नल पर कभी कभी वो मिल जाए छोटा सा यार मेरा, हाथ हिलाए और मुस्कुरा के कहे लेट हो गए तुम जरा, हर जी सर जी सलाम रहमान का. मिल जाए कभी वो बस की फुटबोर्ड पर, ढूंढता हुआ जिंदगी की डगर, नाम रहमान 7 साल है उम्र, ए बी सी डी कुछ भी न जाने, 5-10 की नोट पहचाने, हाँ वही है ए रहमान. हे ए बी सी डी कुछ भी न जाने, 5-10 की नोट पहचाने, हाँ वही है रहमान. ला ए बी सी डी कुछ भी न जाने, 5-10 की नोट पहचाने, हाँ वही है ए रहमान. ला 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 ला, हाँ वही है रहमान. सॉरी आई हैड अ बैड.
वाह वाह वाह, बहुत सुंदर बहुत सुंदर. जी हाँ, हिंदुस्तान की राजधानी है दिल्ली, और दिल्ली जैसे आपने कहा इट इज़ लाइक दिल्ली है जिसे कहते हैं दिलवालों की, और इसी दिल्ली ये जो है आपके बीच प्रस्तुत करें सारे दिलवाले मिलकर दिल्ली साहित्य उत्सव. तालियां तो बनती हैं. दिस इज आवर 11th एडिशन गाइस. ओके विक्टर, आई नो अजय जी तो आपके दोस्त हैं, बट आई वांट अ स्पेशल मैसेज फ्रॉम यू for Delhi Literature Festival, for all people who through Delhi Literature Festival they are cherishing and relishing literature.
मेरा स्पेशल मैसेज जो है वो मैं आपसे शेयर भी कर चुका हूँ, और अजय जी को मैं इसका बधाई भी देता हूँ बार बार. उस दिन भी मैं दिया था. मैं दिल से ये बात कह रहा हूँ कि जहाँ से मैं शुरू किया था कि फेस टू फेस मीटिंग एंड कन्वर्सेशन, we have to keep that up. We have to converse. We have to talk. We are human beings. Come on. एंड वो झप्पी जो हम जाके हैदराबाद में किसी को दे नहीं पाते, शायद मेरा किताब चला जाए, पहुंच जाए वहाँ और वो झप्पी उसे मिले. हमारा बुक एज राइटर्स वी हैव दिस ब्यूटिफुल थिंग विद अस. इट्स वी राइट, आवर वर्ड्स कैन रीच आउट, आवर वर्ड्स कैन गो, आवर वर्ड्स कैन एक्चुअली बलहम लगा सकते हैं लोगों को. तो क्यों न हम उसको वैसे देखें, हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मीट करें, बात करें. देयर आर सो मेनी कॉफ़ी हाउसेज एवरीवेयर नाउ डेज. वी शुड मीट everyone. I'm not talking about like everyone should meet in person, not the telephone, not the mobile, not the internet hi or happy birthday on a Facebook message, but that call. Someone must be waiting for that call that मेरा दोस्त शायद फ़ोन करेगा मेरे जन्मदिन पे. He is possibly not expecting that one hi happy birthday on a messenger. So make that call. That's my message to everyone. I really do that. I do that. And I believe
so
in
yes
that.
भारती दीदी, सुप्रिया जी, अजय जी, अमित जी, मीनू जी, अनूप जी, ऐसे ही बैठकें लगती रहनी है क्योंकि ज़िंदगी एक सफ़र है सुहाना. ओके, अब मैं चाहती हूँ हमारे ऑडियंस से, यदि आपका ओर से सिर्फ 2 सवाल, एक यहाँ से एक यहाँ से, एक आप सवाल पूछेंगे हमारे युवा साथी, या एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम दिस साइड. मुस्कान दीक्षिता सवाल, IR के नहीं, छोटे मीनू जी सवाल. देखिए इतना स्पष्ट तरीके से आपने बात करी है कि सब समझ गए हैं कि किस तरह हिस्ट्री, रिसर्च, जर्नल एंड अगेन द बिगर पर्सपेक्टिव दैट हाउ कॉस्मोपॉलिटन यू आर, एंड सैल्यूट टू यू फॉर दैट.
थैंक यू सो मच. मतलब
सर क्वेश्चन है माइक. ओके या सर विक्टर सर, ये वाला अच्छा अब मैं नहीं बोल पाऊंगी, मेरा माइक जा रहा है.
Am I audible, Victor?
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on the book, and definitely I'm going to buy this, and you need to sign that for me as well.
Thank you so much.
All right. So one question, like, as Bongs, we are always the first person to rather motivate us is Sharadindu Bandyopadhyay. So I would rather ask you that, who are those historians or historical fiction writers besides Rabindranath Tagore and Sharadindu that, you have followed or who have influenced you a lot?
You're not talking only about Bengalis, right?
No, not only about Bengali, but overall, holistically.
See, this was a rather new genre before Dan Brown. Dan Brown popularized it. So Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, actually pushed me to think that why can't we also walk on his path and write something for our own country. And I'm so happy that later Times of India, they reviewed my book, and actually the journalist called me. He was a Bengali, and he said कि this was the Job Chand of Riddle, the first book, and he said कि कलकत्ता के लिए ऐसा किसी ने सोचा अब तक क्यों नहीं, किसी ने ऐसा क्यों नहीं लिखा जो आपने लिखा. So I'm going to write like this, and he told me the headline that I'm going to write it like that, our own version of the Da Vinci Code, and that's how he actually wrote it, and it is still there on the net, the digital version of the Times. And so yes, Dan Brown actually made a lot of difference for me, because before reading his work, there were people, Clive Cussler used to write this kind of novels since ages, but somehow Dan Brown has popularized, and he pushed me to think on these lines. Yeah. Amit, Hanji, please.
Yeah, Victor, I asked this question to Kevin before this. We have.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, we had these beautiful books, which we would like to see on celluloid. And I asked Kevin also, why aren't these converted into movies? Because that's probably now it's a media which reaches many more people. And I think the thought is very vivid, very clear. The way you put your things across in the books is amazing. Why is it restricted to books? Why doesn't it reach the movies?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I wouldn't know much more than what Kevin has answered, but yes, I have my own insights. In fact, my fantastic editor Priya Talwar, who is sitting over there, who actually got the book for Rupa, and we were just discussing about this only. See, for historical thrillers, the budget becomes a very huge problem, because like my writing both the books, I have actually taken my reader for a world tour kind. So my readers, they for Tomb of God, I've got mails and letters that during the lockdown God is so graceful, we've got your book. With this book we have traveled the world. Though we were confined in our homes, we actually traveled the world with your book, and what an adventure. So, not talking about my writing, but then again that, traveling the world with people, with readers, that has been, I really have cherished that. But yes, that kind of a budget possibly not be available with the filmmakers, number one. Number two, the number of characters are so many. So, in fact, my both the books are considered as for screenplays, but one is still on. But that's where the problem comes. The budget and the number of characters and the depth of the research. And actually, someone told me that the kind of research you have reflected, if we make a film, we might not be able to do justice to that. That will not surely come out in the film. In fact, that's the same what has happened with Da Vinci Code. It's a sleek film, it's a smart film, but it surely doesn't capture the essence of the research or the work which has gone behind. Huh?
So I guess I allow. Oh, yeah, ma'am, please.
So, I have a quick question, Victor. My name is Priya, as he's just introduced me. I know what you're saying. Budget is definitely number one reason I think for a book like yours. But I have to say you're being too kind because the world of films is not very democratic, I would say, and there are certain minds that have captured, monopolized the process, the execution of this. Because you and I know that there are just enough movies with just enough research that have been put onto the screen. My question is very simple. आपके पास ऐसा क्या है एज अ राइटर जब आपको पता ही नहीं है कि पब्लिश होगी या नहीं, सेल होगी या नहीं, कौन खरीदेगा, कौन पढ़ेगा, कहाँ पढ़ेगा, तो आप इतनी लगन, इतनी मेहनत क्यों करते हो? एंड आई एम आस्किंग बिकॉज आजकल के ज़माने में वी आर एडिक्टेड ऑन सोशल मीडिया, यू नो द वे आवर ब्रेन्स वर्क टुडे. हम लोगों का रिवॉर्ड बहुत सिंपल है, 20 लाइक्स एंड वी आर हैप्पी, नहीं आया तो वी आर नॉट हैप्पी. तो आप इतनी मेहनत क्यों करते हो? क्योंकि अनसर्टनिटी इज सो हाई राइट नाउ, नो ऑथर नोस कब कहाँ कैसे क्या होएगा.
Fantastic question. It's one word answer actually, the journey. If you enjoy the journey, they enjoy the journey, period. We don't look for, who will come and tell me, kya kiya, badhiya, shabash, और थपथपाएगा अपने पीठ पे. कोई नहीं चाहिए, if you enjoy the journey, you'll go off. क्योंकि, there 7-day book, write your book in 7 days. It's available everywhere. Your Facebook is bombarding with that. So, again, coming back to that, I often tell I say this to young students because I do a lot of workshops, creative writing workshops and stuff. See, we are the people, we are writing in our pajamas, dimly lit studies, everyone is sleeping, and we are just writing or studying or researching or talking in a hushed voice with people overseas. We are doing all of this to enjoy the journey, to talk to that one person in Israel, sitting in Israel, or one person sitting in Iraq who is telling me, believe me, someone told me, it's in my book, the urinals in Pakistan and Afghanistan, they are so high, male. We can't use the urinals. Indians, even with a height of 5'11" or, nearing 6 feet, we can't use the urinals. They're so high. They're set so high. And some travel blogger, he told me. And I said, wow, fantastic. This is a brilliant insight. I must put this in my book. And it is there. I wrote that. So you will never get this. But yes, when I talk to people, when I talk to some travel bloggers who were on the bike, and this was the team I was talking to, they were on a bike ride from India, Chandigarh, through Pakistan to Afghanistan to Iran, and finally to reach Baghdad in Iraq. And that's the journey I've expressed, I've talked about in my book, through the Silk Route. And I was talking to these people, and they came up with amazing things, which were like this. Simple things, but they had a problem. And they told me about it, and those things are there. And I really do love talking to people. And yes, when we know even कि कौन पढ़ेगा, नहीं पढ़ेगा, क्या बोलेगा, film बनेगा कि नहीं, ना बने film, I'm happy with this book because 4 भी लोग पढ़ लेगा, so I would know that my job is done. And it's a fantastic feeling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. Wonderful talking to you, and many congratulations to you for Tomb of God. Congratulations to Rupa Publications as well. And yes, इसी के साथ इस सत्र की समाप्ति होती है दिल्ली साहित्य महोत्सव पे. अब मीनू जी आ गई हैं, अगले सत्र की ओर आगे बढ़ते हैं. Thank you, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.